Hey everyone, welcome back to the Clarity Container. I'm your host, Omika, and I deeply appreciate the time and energy that you're spending with me today. Today, we're going to be chatting about problems. We all face them, and I want to share a way that you can reframe problems to engage with them in a more healthy and constructive way. Now, this is a framework that I learned several years ago through work, and it has stuck with me ever since because it's helped me reframe my problems and see them as something I can actually conquer and deal with in a mindful and meaningful way. Now, this concept or this framework comes from someone named Martin Seligman. He is a renowned American psychologist, and he is a director of the program for applied positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. I find this framework to be incredibly powerful in terms of reframing problems, so I'm going to share it with you. What he calls this framework is the 3 Ps of problems. So the hypothesis here is that every problem we face, we might actually be framing it in the wrong way because we're thinking of it through the lens of one of the 3 Ps, which are essentially cognitive biases. And those 3 Ps are the following. The first is personal. So when a problem happens in your life, something small might happen and we think of it as a personal thing that happens. Something doesn't go right at work, something doesn't go right at home, and we think, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with me. Maybe I am just unlucky. I am not good enough. I am not worthy of what I want. So this problem happened, and then we extrapolate it to mean something personal about ourselves. The second P is pervasiveness. So one problem happens in one area of your life, and suddenly it feels like everything else in life is also falling apart. So something bad happens at work, and then you come home and you get into a fight with your partner, or something doesn't go right with your furniture, something breaks, and you think, oh my gosh, everything sucks. Nothing is going right. So that is the bias of pervasiveness. The third P is permanence, which makes us feel like our problems will never end. So something bad happens and you think, oh my gosh, it's going to be like this forever. We've all experienced this. I know I have. And it can feel really disempowering when something bad happens and you think, gosh, I don't know if and when things are going to get better. This problem is going to last forever. So these are 3 Ps that I'm sure you've experienced as I'm talking about them. I'm sure ideas are coming to mind of times when you have framed your problems through the lens of these 3 Ps. And what I want to do is very tactically, because I'm all about action and tactics, is help you start to reframe some of those problems through the lens of the 3 Ps. So we're going to talk through a few real-world examples and what it might look like to actually go from your current understanding of the problem to a more mindful, empowered, real understanding that is more objective and allows you to actually work through your problem in a meaningful way rather than getting caught up in these endless loops and cycles that, one, are not true, and second, are kind of unhelpful. So the first example I want to give is, let's say you just started a new business, and that is a journey in and of itself, and you're struggling to get clients. Now, this is something that happens all the time. It could be any type of business. It's hard to get clients at first. What might be going through your head could sound like, and I'm going to talk about it in the context of the 3 Ps, personalization. So I'm not getting clients because I am not good enough. I don't have what it takes to get clients for my business. That is probably not true. So a way to reframe that might be, okay, this is not entirely personal. I just started this business. My lack of ability to get clients is actually not a lack of ability at all. It's that I'm new to this space and I have a lot to learn. Everybody starts from scratch, and it is possible for me to learn how to attract the right clients. This is not personal right now. The second lie that might come up is that I'm not getting clients, therefore this industry is not for me. So that is the lie of pervasiveness, where you think just because one thing doesn't work out, it applies to everything else in your professional career. And that might not be true. What might be true is that the clients that you've reached out to or gotten in touch with are not your ideal clients, but you will find the people who are right for you. So that makes it a little bit less pervasive. The third is permanence. So I started this business, but it's never gonna pan out. It's never gonna work out. A reframe would sound like, Everybody starts from scratch. Just because it's not working out for me right now doesn't mean that it's never going to work out for me. Everybody starts from zero. It is not out of the question to have struggles in the beginning to attract clients. And this is not going to be permanent. This is not my permanent situation. The second example I want to give is when you might be feeling stuck in your career. So maybe you're in a job that feels like you're at a dead end. You're not getting promoted. You're not feeling like you have many growth opportunities left, and you feel a feeling of stuckness. And trust me, I have been there too. Personalization of the problem might sound like I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough at my job, and things are not going to get better because there's something inherently wrong with me as a professional. And that's not true. A reframe might sound like I am talented in my own ways. I need to perhaps improve my value proposition for the company and what I can offer to them. Pervasiveness in that situation might sound like my life sucks. I'm not getting my promotion. I'm not moving forward at work. And I'm also losing my friendships. I'm having troubles with my partner. I am finding it difficult to, make new friends in my city, and everything sucks. Now, a way to reframe that might sound like my job might be difficult for me right now, but I can also spend time outside of work doing things that fulfill me, that help me grow and advance in my life in different ways. So it's not pervasive. And permanence, this will never end. So you might think, I feel stuck in limbo in my career. This is never going to end. I'm going to be stuck in this position forever. And again, that's not true. People shift careers, pivot their lives all the time. So those are a couple of reframes for if you're feeling stuck in your career and how you might be utilizing this 3P thinking that is actually holding you back more than it needs to. The final example I want to give is in your health and fitness journey. So, this is a hot topic. Everyone is trying to get healthier and fitter. And when you're on that journey, it can bring up a lot of insecurity. It can bring up a lot of limiting beliefs around what you believe about yourself and what is possible for you. And some of the 3Ps could sound like, on the personalization side, I don't have discipline. I don't have what it takes to do this. A reframe could sound like, it's not that I don't have discipline. Discipline is a learned trait. Nobody is just born with discipline. I can build this up over time. Pervasiveness. I am never able to stick to anything. Forget about this fitness plan. I also can't figure out how to stick to anything else. Again, maybe not true. The reframe might sound like, I have been able to stick to some things in my life. And here are some examples of that. I have these positive examples for myself. And I believe that I can apply some of those learnings to my fitness journey too. And then finally, permanence. This is how I'm going to look forever. This is how my body is going to look forever. I'm going to feel lethargic and not energetic my entire life. And the reframe for that might look like I can change my habits. I can change my actions, my thoughts, my feelings, and move forward from the state I'm at right now. People go on health and fitness journeys all the time, and there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to as well. So those are some examples for feeling stuck in your business, in your career, on your health and fitness journey. And I give those examples just to bring this to life a little bit because these are generic enough that we've all experienced these in some form or fashion. I want to move on now to what do we do from here? So we know about the 3Ps. It's a really helpful way to frame problems. I use this all the time, when I'm going through a difficult time, whether it's at work or in my personal life and my family. I'm like, okay, what is the actual problem? And what are all the problems that I'm layering on top of it in the form of the 3Ps? Am I making it more personal than it needs to be? Am I making it more pervasive? Am I making it more permanent when none of those things are true? So in order to move forward from this, I have 3 very easy steps for you to implement that, again, have helped me a ton. The first is to recognize your problems. Or recognize your patterns around problems, rather. So if you're experiencing a problem right now, I would encourage you to do a little exercise. You can do it after you listen to this, where you literally write down every problem you are facing in your life right now and write it down in full detail. Write down all the stories you're telling yourself about it, and then note down which of those stories could be coming from one of the 3Ps. So what is the actual problem? And then what are all the additional stories that I am telling myself that actually might not be true and that I can question to distill the actual problem? So that's the first step. Once you've done that, it becomes a lot easier to reframe the actual problem. So the second piece of action you're going to take is actually distilling the problem down to what it is. So minus all the personalization, the pervasiveness, the permanence, what is the actual problem that I am dealing with? Once you do that and you get crystal clear on it, it sounds so easy, but it takes time and a lot of honesty with yourself. The third thing you're going to do is now break down tangible action steps you can take to address your problem, because now you actually know what your problem is. You have reframed it and you've gotten rid of all the fluff and the garbage and the junk. And now you're like, okay, I know what my actual problem is. And here's what I can do to solve it. So, for example, if you're struggling to get clients, as we talked about in that one example, maybe that action step is that, or you break down that problem and you realize that it wasn't personal. It's not that you're not good enough. It's not that the industry isn't for you. It's not that this is never going to happen. It's actually just that you haven't really talked to that many people yet. You haven't communicated with a critical mass of clients just yet. So you haven't given yourself the opportunity to succeed. So an action step for that might look like, all right, today I'm going to do cold outreach to 10 new people. I'm going to set up a new value proposition. I'm going to send out new communication to them, and I'm going to see if they respond and how they respond. Based on that, I'm going to create learnings, and I'm going to create a new action plan where I'm going to reach out to the next 10 people the next day, etc. So you see how this kind of breaks it down into something that is more tangible and puts the power back in your hands. Similarly, for your career, maybe you feel like you're not talented, you're not getting promoted, your life sucks, this is where you're going to be forever. And maybe it's just that you need to have a couple more coffee chats. You need to reach out to previous mentors. You need to expand your horizons of the types of jobs that you're looking at, and even consider perhaps leaving your current company. Fitness. I don't have discipline. I'm going to be stuck in this forever. This is never going to work. Well, that might look like, okay, I'm going to create an actual plan where I know what I'm doing every week, and I'm going to get an accountability buddy who's going to help me, because actually it's not that I don't have discipline. It's that I don't have accountability, and I don't really want to pay for a coach right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlist one of my friends who also has a similar goal as me, and we're going to be accountability buddies. You see how all of those reframes put the power back in your hands. They take away the personalization, the pervasiveness, and the permanence of the problems, and actually make you feel like the CEO of your life. And that's how I want you to feel. So I hope this is helpful. And I really encourage you, especially if you're dealing with a huge problem right now, like really write it down and figure out where your cognitive biases are coming in the form of this. And I like this framework because it's a very tangible way to think about it. And I mean, I hope it gives you clarity. It certainly gives me a lot of clarity. If you found this helpful, I would encourage you to also share it with a friend who might need it. I really appreciate you doing that. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in. I like to keep these actionable and brief as much as possible. I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a rating, and again, share with your friends. You can create so much positive impact in your own life by being a beacon of light for others, and that's what I want for you. So I encourage you to do that. And again, I really appreciate you tuning in. I will catch you next time. Thanks, guys.